Today on the Matt and Ant Show, we welcome Eagles legend, Pro Bowler, 2018 Hall of Fame inductee, Brian Dawkins. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. It's a
Excellent.
pleasure to share this day with you.
No, thank you.
We want to get right into it. You're obviously one of the most famous Eagles of all time. There's a lot of talk about what the Eagles are going to do this offseason, whether Russ is going to come in. You think they're going to stick with Jalen Hurts? And what are your thoughts on Jalen?
Um, if it was my decision, I would love for them to stick it out with Jalen Hurts. I think that he's shown a lot, and I know people don't want to give him the understand. Will give him the um, give. They don't want to give in to the fact that he was a rookie last year.
Yeah.
I don't care what you as a football player, those individuals that are in the locker room, until you have played a full season, you are still a rookie, right? So last year, probably 7 games into it, he was still a rookie. 8 games still into it, he was still a rookie, and so that means that he was still going into his second year at the latter part of that year. So he's going to make mistakes. Decision making is not going to be where it needs to be for any rookie quarterback coming in, right? And so you can't expect for him to be Russell Wilson this year. Matter of fact, Russell Wilson today was not Russell Wilson when he got in the football league. He was running first. They had a heavy run offense, and they had a very strong defense that literally won the championship for them. So we have to give this young man a chance to grow into what he can do. I love him because he's a fighter. He's a calm individual. He rebounds pretty good from mistake for the most part, and he's been through so much in his young life. So I like his prospects going forward.
Is there a player in the league right now that reminds you of yourself?
Wow. Um, I don't like to do that to guys because I know everybody's like very prideful of how they play the game. I love guys that can do all of the things that are asked of them on the field. Like he doesn't have to be in the box. He can actually be deep. He can be all over the place. And there's a couple of guys that fit that bill. Minka Fitzpatrick sticks out right away as one of those individuals. Simmons out in with Denver, he's another individual. And there's a couple of guys that fit that mold. I like chess pieces. I don't like a guy. Again, not saying that we don't have guys and they're not good. I just like someone that can be again used as a chess piece all over the field to be a weapon against the other team.
What was it like being inducted or being announced that you're going in the Hall of Fame the weekend the Eagles were playing in the Super Bowl? Because not everybody gets that lucky that they're getting in the Hall of Fame in general, let alone their teams in the Super Bowl fighting for their first championship.
Hey man, that was outstanding. And if you know anything about me, I don't believe in coincidences. That was a divine thing for me to be an executive of the Philadelphia Eagles at the time, the team that I'm still a part of, to go to the Super Bowl and to win it, by the way. And then for me to get a Hall of Fame ring and jacket that same weekend. Matter of fact, going into that weekend, I knew that I felt that I was going to get a gold ring and and a Super Bowl ring in that same weekend. So I was elated and I was in a place of joy, obviously. And again, to be a part of that, to be a part of the city winning that championship was huge.
I just keep on the same topic. What do you think about the Super Bowl and what you thought about it?
This past Super Bowl,
Yeah.
I, I loved it. I loved it. Kind of kept people on their toes the whole time. And I know that people are talking about the overtime rule into these playoffs and everything. I know they're going to change it because they love offense more than defense. I'm a defensive dude. I think we shouldn't have changed it in the first place. That the defense do what they're supposed to do. You stop them from scoring. Period. That's the way defenses do. But that's not the way things go. But going back to the Super Bowl, I loved it. It was very enjoyable from start to finish.
Do you think Aaron Donald's going to retire, or do you think he's going to try to repeat?
Me personally, I think he'll try to repeat. I don't know if he'll sign a long-term deal. I think he'll try to repeat. It's just hard for me to think that after your first time winning it, he's still young, and to just go out like that. Now, if he does, kudos to him. You won it. You beasted. You beasted, and you won it. But I think that he'll give it at least one more go around. Again, he's still, I think, the most dominant defensive player in the game right now.
You know, this year Tom Brady retired. Do you have any memories or that you might want to bring up?
From my retirement,
Yeah,
or from my playing days.
About Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
What were your thoughts on his retirement, and were you a little shocked about it that he retired? And what's your memories of playing against him?
No, I wasn't shocked. Anytime that you start thinking about retirement, that means you've thought about retirement. Think about that. So anytime someone's thinking about it, they've thought about it. So if they played it in their head what it feels like to be out of the game. And that's something that I can tell you that when you're playing, you never do. So when you're in it and that's all you want, that's what you do, right? And so to begin to think about retirement means, again, he's thought about it and he's played it in his head, what it looks like, what he's going to be doing. And so sometimes for some guys, that gives them some peace off the field. And again, that's usually I won't say never the case, but usually our peace is on the field, doing what we do and love to do, and that's playing the game of football. But kudos to him, to knowing when it's time for him. He's obviously had the most success of anybody who's ever played the game as far as winning championships. So if he wants to call his shots and if this is his last shot that he's taken, kudos to him.
Donovan McNabb was your quarterback for most of your career in Philly. Why do you think he's not in the Hall of Fame? Because I think he was a top 5 quarterback for most of his run with the Eagles.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was a knock, and it should not be, on him and the team in general. That's another reason that I believe Jim Johnson is not given a whole lot of credit as being the dominant defensive coordinator that he was for so many years, is because we didn't win the championship. So when you win the Super Bowl, all of a sudden you get more love and more respect from individuals. But because we've been on the cusp for so many years, and I think we went to NFC Championship game 5 times, we made one Super Bowl and we lost it. I think that knocks us down in people's head, and it should not once again. Because if you can do that, if you year after year can get to that place, and then you can, again, galvanize yourself to get to that place the next year after you've lost the previous year, that shows you the fight, the drive, and the talent level of those individuals. So will he get it? I think he will at some point. It's just, again, I think that is one of the things that has knocked him down.
Yeah. We talk about Miami. What do you have a top 10 quarterback that you?
You have a top 10 quarterbacks of all times list?
I don't. I love defense. I care about Donovan because he's my guy, but I don't care about other quarterbacks.
We could go with defense. Do you have a top 10 defense?
Oh, no, I haven't even. Wow. If you'd asked me if before this to have it in my mind, I probably would have. I know what defense a couple of years is in that top 5 to 10. It will be one of our Jim Johnson's defenses. A couple of them will be in that top 10. Absolutely.
We were just talking about Tom Brady. He obviously finished his career with the Buccaneers. You finished it with the Broncos. Obviously, you're both cemented as he's a Patriots legend, you're an Eagles legend. What's that like, playing your last couple of years after playing so many years in one place? Was it difficult for you, or did you just take it right in?
Oh, if you love the place you played, it's difficult. I mean, if you really love the place that you were playing in, it's really difficult. And it was very difficult for me in the beginning. But here's the thing about me. I'm a professional, and I'm also someone that loves to earn the respect of my teammates. And so I knew that I had to let that part of me go. I had to I I would say that I was in mourning for a little while because I was for a couple of months about the loss that I felt that I was having and not being in Philadelphia. But I knew I had to be everything I could be for my new teammates. They were expecting me to be everything that I could be going forward for them to lead them to earn the respect to lead them going forward. That's what I had to do. So that was my new family. So I had to make friends and again earn that respect of those individuals in order for me to then lead them. But it was tough. It was tough.
Um, uh, 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 yeah, you help me a coach in the NFL when you cry.
I couldn't understand that one.
Could you see yourself being a coach in the NFL or maybe college?
I never say never. I I just know that playing the game of football, my wife was basically a single mom a lot of times
Yeah.
because I was off either training or getting some rehab from some of the crazy stuff that I was doing on the field at times. So she was home to do a lot of the lion's share of raising our kids by herself. Me being an executive for those couple of years that I was blessed to see some of the long hours the coaches put in. There's no way that I would do that to my wife again. To put in those long hours that some teams and I know some teams are different. Like every team is different. There's some teams that I know Coach Dungy when he was coaching, he would make sure that if your kid has something, you be home for that. Whatever they have going on, you be home for that. You get home to eat with your family. So that means you have to get your work done early so you can get home to be with your family. So he was a coach that pushed that. I won't say that that happens across the league. What I've seen is that basically coaches are sleeping in their offices. And I can't do that to my wife again. So I would not see myself as being a coach, being a part of the game down the road at some point. Yeah, in some capacity. But again, not from a coaching standpoint. And I offer stuff anyway. I'm a coach at heart. Like coaching comes out of me. I just see things and I'm blessed to be able to see things and talk to players about things that I see in them that they can implement to make what they have shine even more. I'm kind of blessed to do that. So I'll do that wherever I am. But again, as far as a coach, I don't see that.
What were your thoughts on Nick Sirianni in his rookie coaching year this year?
Yeah, it was a learning curve. It was a tremendous learning curve, and we knew that. Like I knew that going in. That's why I wasn't as um, all over the place when they were, losing and some of the things that were going on the sidelines. I was not because all they had new coaches and new players, so there's a lot of newness that was going on, and so some of the things that I love to see how people respond and rebound from turbulence. To me, that shows you what a leader is all about. How do they or can they rebound from turbulence? Can they make adjustments? Will they make adjustments? Or will they just be stubborn and say, we're going to do it this way and this way alone? And you saw a young coach that was stubborn for about 9 games. And then all of a sudden he recognized, you know what? If we want to have any chance of winning, we better run the football and be run happy. And that's what they did. They ran the ball often. I think the 70, 60%, 65% of the time in the second half of the season, they ran the football. Where in the beginning, it was 60, close to 70% of the game throwing the football. And that puts a whole lot of pressure on a young quarterback and a defense that was extremely passive. So those did not go well together. But again, you saw some growth from him. I will keep some of my other comments that I would love for him to do differently to myself. But from that aspect of seeing what you have on the field and changing your philosophy based on what you have, I love that.
Look at Eagle right now. What do you think they are missing or is anything?
Uh, what's missing is like, what's your identity going forward? We saw what they were at the beginning of the season, offensively and defensively. Defensively, they were extremely passive, showing offenses exactly what you're going to be in pre-snap, and then you end up in that post-snap. That's one of the worst formulas ever to have success against pass happy league, a league that a lot of the rules are set to help the offense, right? So you can't show quarterbacks what you're going to be, and you have to move around. They did that. He began to change things towards the end of the season, the same as the head coach changed things towards the end of the season. So my question going into this year is, what coach are you though? Are you the first half of the season coach, or are you the second half of the season coach into this next year, right? So, and now you'll be able to go into the draft to get some of the guys, and hopefully you get some playmakers on defense. I would love for us to get some playmakers on defense, like obviously defensive line, but linebackers, safeties, like every level needs to have literally guys that can take the ball away, whether it be interceptions, calls, fumbles. That's I love a chess piece. I love a guy that's versatile enough to do a lot of different things to take the ball away. That's what I'm talking about. Getting that type of those type of athletes and mindsets back on the defensive side of the ball, that we can have a dominant defenses that people are afraid to play against. That you would need to come into the link and be afraid to play in that place again. Not happy because we're going to play vanilla defenses the whole time, right? So that was that. I ain't gonna lie to you. That was driving me crazy.
Um, Obviously, the Eagles had 3 draft picks in the first round. Do you see them possibly moving 1 or 2 of them to move up to get a defensive guy? And if so, what guy do you like the most out of this year's draft?
I haven't been paying attention like that to see who they need to specifically get. Obviously, you need that, so again, depth on that defensive front to make sure that you have everything that you need in rotation. Obviously, this won't be a rotation guy if you put him in the first round. If he's in the first round pick and that he needs to be starting right pretty soon. And again, that playmaker guy, that guy that at potentially some point, they have to slide the line to. I mean, you literally saw what a defensive lineman can do in a game in Aaron Donald. Like, you saw that. So we know what a defensive lineman, when you're sliding the protection to a defensive tackle over and over again, then you get a lot of one-on-ones everywhere else. And then those guys have to win their battles. That's why you have to have not just one defensive dominant guy. You have to have a multitude of those guys. So, getting those guys. But again, on that linebacker level, right? Like, yes, make plays, but also some smash mouth. So a guy that can, cause a couple of snot bubbles, but also drop back in coverage and snag a couple, right? And take some to the house with versatility. So again, that's what I'm looking for in this draft, to see if we can go out to get those type of guys.
The Cowboys and Eagles rivalry, what was that like for you?
Wow. And I get this question asked a lot, and this is not a slight towards the Cowboys. They weren't my rivalry. They just weren't. Like, if you look at how many times that the teams that I was on played against the Dallas, like, I think it was like 14 to like 5 or something like that. Like, I constantly beat the Cowboys, so they weren't my rivalry. Like, the Giants was my rivalry. That's the team that we would get. We would beat them a couple of times in a row. They would beat us a couple of times. It was not necessarily the Cowboys. So again, that was not my rivalry. Like, I know it's the fans. I know everybody hates Dallas, and I'm not a fan of Dallas either. But again, that wasn't my rivalry. That wasn't my rivalry.
One of the biggest talking points of the Eagles season was Jalen Rieger. What are your thoughts on him? Do you think that he's just basically a lost cause, they should release him? Or do you think he still has something that could be possibly a very good wide receiver in this league?
We have to see it. Like, I know they may see some things in practice, or he might have flashed some things in college. But on this level, it's about, what have you done for me lately? Like, what is the film showing consistently? When you look at the eye, they say the eye in the sky don't lie. So when you're looking at film and we're being honest, brutally honest about what we see, what is it that you're seeing? And if the coaching staff believe that he possesses the things that would outplay some of the guys that were necessarily drafted behind him, and we know who those individuals are, like, you have to do some measurements. Like, where is he right now? Is he now just a return guy? Because he's done some explosive things in returns. Awesome, right? But we need him to be a dominant receiver. So the question that you then have to then ask yourself is is that something that you can not guarantee, but basically almost guarantee that he is that individual this far into his career? And the answer right now, as it stands right now, is no. And so again, they have to make the decision because they're in the rooms with him and they know what he can do. They know the type of person and some of the things he's done on the practice field. But again, it's about what you produce on the field. And if he can't change the narrative in the city, it's going to be tough for that dude to have success there, man.
Absolutely.
It's curious on what you got on AB. It walked out and and what do you think it was? Or
And that was whose thoughts on who now was that?
On Antonio Brown and what happened to him in New York a couple months ago when he walked off the field. And where do you think his headspace was? And can he recover and get signed by a team? Or
I
is
don't
it?
know, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where his head is when it comes to that. That's I've never seen anything like it. Obviously, I played in a long time in the game, and there's some things that have been done in the off season, some crazy things, and we've been a part of those with with To doing his sit ups and stuff. But we've seen some of those things, but I've never seen that in the middle of a game someone do that. So like I don't know where his headspace is, and if you continue to do similar things over and over and over and over again at every stop, then I don't know who is going to be that team to give him that chance. Maybe they will. I just don't know who that team would be.
I see your book in the background. Can you tell us more about it and where you can find it?
Yeah, so yeah, you can go on Amazon to grab it. Brian Dawkins, Blessed by the Best, my journey to Canton and beyond, and like it was really me listening to some of the fans congratulating me on my Hall of Fame journey, and it really sounded to me that they thought that what they saw with this has always been the case. And I'm like, no, that's far from the case. So that was literally me talking about how some of the things that I've been blessed to grow through in my life, some of the people that God put in the right place for me at different times helped me, and they were the best for me. So the first blessed by the best is talking about my vertical relationship with the Lord. And then it goes to, okay, so these situations, because I saw them differently, they were blessing me. And because these people were right in the right place, they were able to speak things into my life at some of the tougher times in my life. And so there's some football things in there as well, some life philosophies in there as well. But again, it's literally about me recognizing that I have been blessed tremendously in so many ways in my life. And I wanted to share some of the tough circumstances that I have grasped power and strength and determination that have allowed me to be the passionate cat that you see.
Absolutely.
what motivated you? I mean, I know you said the thing, but what motivated you to write your book? What was going through my mind? Oh wow, I want to write this book.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I never thought I would write a book. I never did. I never thought that it would be author beside Brian Dawkins forever. Like author, it's author Brian Dawkins now, right? Or Brian Dawkins author. Um, but again, I believe that the things that I grow through in my life and the circumstances that I have grasped answers that I have now used as wisdom because I do things differently and my mindset, the way my mindset works, I believe that that's not just for me. I believe I'm supposed to pass that on. I'm supposed to share that with other individuals that may look up to me, that might see me as someone to be inspired by. And so you can read some of the things that I changed. I was able to rewrite the way that thing happened to me, and it didn't happen to me, it happened for me. I've been able to change those stories to allow me to have the mindset that I have today, changing even the way that my brain operates. And so I want to share that with other people. I want to offer them some of these things so that they can look at their past and they can look at their situations and see how those things not hurt me, but how did they help me? Why am I stronger because of those things? And now you can be able to create an outstanding future to go after. So you can use your imagination to just imagine this grand vision that I can go after because I have all this wisdom from my past, right? So that was the kind of the main premise of this, and that was the huge why. It was not about me. It was literally about those individuals that see me and see that picture and see a video of me, and I inspire them. So if you read this book, you'll understand why I tick the way that I tick. But literally, what are the things that I went through, some of the dark times, that I still have found encouragement, strength, and power from.
On that same topic, what would be a message that you will say about maybe you don't know if you will be in your position or want to be in your position?
Yeah. So what was the first part? I heard the second part. What was the first part?
What would be basically, what would you say to someone that was in the same position that you were in to get them out of it, basically?
Yeah. So my vertical relationship literally defines me, right? So I know that in everything there is a season. For everything there is a season. That's what the word tells us. So that thing that you're going through, you're not just going through it. In my mind, you're supposed to grow through it. So when you feel a storm coming, or when you're in a storm, you're asking yourself, what am I supposed to be learning in this? Is there something I'm supposed to be learning specifically about myself or even somebody in my circle? Maybe there's somebody in my circle that's not supposed to be there. And I need to basically remove them because they're not adding to me. They're pulling from me. They're being a leech, right? So I need to get rid of these individuals. So that's what I'm talking about. So having that mindset that when a storm comes, look at it as an opportunity to grow. Look at it as an opportunity to get stronger in some area because you are supposed to. Again, get stronger in some area. Again, maybe it's something I do differently, but again, sometimes it's what I need to stop doing. And then sometimes it's I need to cut these people off because they are pulling me back. They're being a weight dragging me. And I can't go to a higher height if I have these people pulling and dragging me back down, right? So that's what I would say. And so first of all, and then on top of that, know that good things are supposed to happen to you. Because they are. We are all created by a good God. And he wants good things to happen to us and for us. Not all the time. There are going to be some hurtful things and some storms, but when it's all said and done, he wants good things for us. He has good things for us. And we have things inside of us that are waiting to come out. Like there's greatness. And I always tell people this, that the greatness that I've gone on to have in my life playing this game of football, that greatness was there in me when I was 25, when I was 20, when I was 15. The greatness was not ahead of me. The greatness was already in me. I just had to remove some doubt. I had to work and I had to listen to some coaches to help me correct some of the mistakes I was making. And I had to have a belief that I can do greater things. So those things added up to help me be the person that I have become, doing the things that I have done, yes, but also the things that I'm about to do and blessing a lot of people with hope.
That's amazing. Well, I want to thank you for coming on today, Brian. You're both of us' favorite player. Where can we find you on socials? And is there anything you want to promote?
Oh, it's you can go to briandawkins.com. That's where a lot of things will be housed. My coaching will be housed. A little later on, the Brian Dawkins, his Weapon X Academy, my coaching. I'll be doing that. The Beast package. And you can go on. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. And I'm constantly putting out motivational things every Monday and pretty much every Friday. Putting out motivational things, inspirational things. The Word of God on my stories. I call them fighting words. So I'm always giving you someone something. I don't know who it is, but it's always giving someone something to fight with. To fight with a word, a thought, an idea, a way of thinking or doing things to fight with.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brian. It's been an absolute honor. Brian Dawkins, everyone.
All right. Y'all be blessed.